Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Francia, and on this channel, we do a little bit of everything. But lately, I've been interested in true crime. So if you are interested as well, I hope you hit your subscribe button and your notification bell so that you always know when I upload. Okay, so I have a different disclaimer today. I know that I've been saying that I do not want to say the names of the victims out of respect for the family members and loved ones, and that I feel like I don't have the tact that it requires for me to mention the victims' names without potentially offending family members and loved ones. But I do have to change that because I do feel like it's missing something. The victims are a very important part, if not the most important part of the story, and I don't think leaving their name out does them justice. It does feel in a way that is just talking about the perp. And I do apologize in advance to the family members and loved ones in case I say something that may be offensive. That's never my intention, but I will, moving forward, start mentioning the names of the victims, and I pray that I do them justice because they deserve it. Okay, so with that being said, today we'll be exploring the life and crimes of this American serial killer whose gruesome crimes shocked the nation. He unalived at least 13 people between 1975 and 1988. Now, this man was a busy man. He is another one of those unsuspecting ones that you would not see coming because he is so accomplished as a person. It's like the last guy I did, one of the last few people I did, I think his name was John Wayne Gacy. He was so successful in what he was doing and he was so accomplished. You would never have guessed that his side hustle was like unaliving people. And that's the same thing with this guy. He was so busy, so accomplished, such a smart guy. He grew up fairly. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, let's get into the story. So this guy's name is Robert Lee Yates Jr., and I say is because he is still alive. Robert was born on May 27th, 1952 in Spokane. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I should have probably Googled it, but I didn't. And here we are. Spokane. I'm just going to go with Spokane, okay? In Spokane, Washington, to Robert Lee Yates Sr. and Anna Mae Yates. Now, a little background on his family. It was said that his grandma unalived his grandpa with an axe. Yeah, in 1945. It's unsure what happened before she snapped, but it was said that they had a lot of children. Like, I'm talking about 10 or 11 kids. So I wonder if she just went cuckoo one good day, because dealing with all them little gremlins is not no walk in the park, okay? It is not no joke, especially if you don't have a whole lot of support and it's a whole lot of them against one of you. Yeah, it's not cute. So I don't know if she snapped. I don't know if that was the reason, but it didn't say why. But anyway, she was committed to a mental institution, and I couldn't find much after that, but I think she was in there for a little minute. Some time passed after she went in there, and Robert Lee Yates Jr. was born. Robert Sr., the dad, he served in the military and he worked as a laborer while Anna Mae was a stay-at-home mom. Robert Jr., we're going to call him RJ to not confuse him with the dad because I'm getting confused. RJ grew up in Oak Harbor, Washington, and he was raised in a middle-class family that attended a Seventh-day Adventist church. And I think the dad was one of the first elders at that church. A fellow SDA. Aw. It was said that his dad was very involved in his life. The dad coached a little league baseball team, and when RJ was old enough, he joined the team, and he was actually really good. It was said that he played all the way through his senior year of high school, so he and his dad spent a lot of time together. With his military background, the dad instilled the importance of hard work and discipline in RJ, so he had somewhat a decent life growing up as a kid. That doesn't mean, though, that his life didn't have its obstacles. It was reported that RJ was repeatedly sexually abused by an older boy in his neighborhood when he was about 6 years old, and he never said anything to his dad, despite their close relationship. I don't know, you would think that he would go to him and tell him, but he didn't. That's unfortunate. Yeah, but other than that, there is no reports of him being bullied in school or his father abusing him, nothing like that. So he had a relatively normal upbringing. RJ attended Oak Harbor High School and graduated in 1970. He wanted to become a doctor at first. So in the fall of 1970, he enrolled in, oh Lord, Skagit. Bear with me. We're going to go with Skagit. He enrolled in Skagit Valley Community College. He ended up dropping out, but not before meeting his first wife, Shirley Nylander. After dating for about 2 years, the couple married in August 1972 in Falls City at the Seventh-day Adventist Church. In October 1972, RJ enrolled at the Walla Walla College, which is a Seventh-day Adventist school, majoring in pre-med. Good for him. Shortly after, the couple started having some issues, okay? They ended up separating in March of 1974, and Shirley filed for divorce in May of 1974. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say that there was definitely some shady stuff involved, okay? Homeboy was definitely creeping around on homegirl because allegedly, okay? Because the math is not mathing. So RJ enrolled in Walla Walla College, and right after that, he started having issues with his wife. He ended up leaving, went back to her parents' house, and shortly thereafter filed for divorce, right? So she filed for divorce in March of 1974, like I said before. And in May of 1974, tell me why RJ and his new boo thang, Linda Brewer, applied for a marriage license. So before his divorce from Shirley was finalized in August of 1974, RJ and Linda got married in July of 1974. That's crazy. So their marriage ended up being annulled because homeboy was still married to Shirley. And to add salt to injury, in December of 1974, RJ and Linda welcomed their first child together, a daughter. Now you do the math and tell me if homeboy ain't been doing some shady stuff behind Miss Shirley here. And I'm happy for her. Good on you, girl, for ditching his cheating behind, allegedly. Well, the proof is in the pudding. So, yeah. In July 1976, RJ and Linda ended up remarrying and went on to have 4 more children together. In May of 1975, RJ went back to Skagit Valley Community College and finished his degree, and later on worked as a prison guard in Walla Walla. In 1977, RJ enlisted in the Army, and he did great there, okay? This guy had like a really great work ethic. He quickly became a warrant officer and went to flight school. He was stationed overseas in places like Germany, Somalia, and Haiti. Oh, my good old country of Haiti. I wonder if he did anything there too, because get this, it was said that law enforcement officers in Germany are actually investigating him because they think that he might have unalived about 26 women during the 2 tours that he did in Germany while he was with the Army. That man was busy, Lord. He was a hardworking man, and he was also a decorated Army veteran. Over the course of his service in the military, he received a whole bunch of medals. Lots and lots of medals. And by the time he left the military, he was a CW4, which is a Chief Warrant Officer, level 4. And it is the highest rank you can get in the military. Yeah, homeboy was working. He was dedicated. By the time he was done, he had over 5,000 hours of flight time in helicopters. And it was said that he had never had any mishaps whatsoever. He also received 2 Armed Forces Expeditionary Medals for tours that he did in Somalia in 1993 and in Haiti in 1994. Now, it's not confirmed as to why he made that decision, and there are speculations that it was because his need to unalive people just grew stronger and stronger. But in 1996, after serving 18 years and with only 1.5 year short of his 20-year career when he would be eligible for full retirement benefits, RJ here retired from the Army. Interesting. It was said that he still got his full benefits though, because the Army, something was going on. I couldn't figure out what they meant by that. But he did end up receiving his full benefits. But that was a little weird. Like only 1.5 years and you just dip out. After his retirement, he moved his family back to Spokane. I don't remember what I said. But it wasn't long before he couldn't really sit still and he wanted to fly again. So in April of 1997, he got a job at Washington Army National Guard, which is where he worked until his arrest in 2000. So how did this man unalive all these people, and where did he find the time? For the most part, his victims were prostitutes and or drug users whose services he would solicit before executing them and dumping their bodies in various locations. RJ killed for the first time in 1975. So on July 14, 1975, while RJ was out, he ran into a couple, Patrick Oliver, 21, and Patricia Savage, 22, and they were having a nice little picnic. RJ, for no reason, ended up shooting both of them. Then he just covered their bodies with debris, like leaves and stuff, and he just left them there. Ugh. It didn't say why, but I'm thinking maybe he got busy with the military, or maybe he took his business elsewhere, like to one of those places where he would be stationed while in the military, or the murders of the couple may have garnered too much attention and he got scared, but he didn't unalive again until 1988. 23-year-old Stacy Elizabeth Hawk's body was found on December 28, 1988. At first, they thought someone else did it, but later on, RJ would confess to the murder as part of a plea bargain to avoid the death penalty. On August 26, 1997, 16-year-old Jennifer Joseph's body was found. She was so young, Lord Jesus. She was a bit decomposed already, but they were able to determine her cause of death was a GSW to the chest, and also she had semen, so they collected DNA for testing. 29-year-old Darla Scott's body was found on November 5th, 1997. She had 2 plastic bags over her head, and her cause of death was 2 GSWs to the head. They also were able to collect DNA samples from her body. On December 7th, 1997, 24-year-old Melinda Mercer was found. Her head was covered with 3 plastic bags, and she had 3 GSWs. 36-year-old Shawn Johnson was discovered on December 18th, 1997. She had 2 plastic bags over her head, and her cause of death was 2 GSWs to the head. They were able to get, again, DNA samples for testing. Now, by this time, investigators noticed a similar pattern with all the victims. They had almost the same history, which was either prostitution and or drug abuse, and they had GSWs to the head with the same .25 caliber pistol, and all but one of them were killed elsewhere and then dumped in different locations in Spokane County. So then forensic scientists collected as much evidence as they could from the bodies and the crime scenes. They collected things like hair, fibers, anything that they could find, they collected. And it was determined that the DNA found on each one of the victims was from the same person, except this person was not in their database. So with this information, they put together a task force and they went to work because they had to solve these murders before more bodies start piling up. But unfortunately, over the next few months, 6 more bodies would turn up, and it's the same ammo, GSWs to the head, plastic bags over the head, and semen on the bodies. The victims were Laurel Wason, Sean McClanahan, Sonny Oster, Linda Mabin, Michelin Dernan, Connie Ellis. There was another person that went missing. Her name was Melody Murfin, and they couldn't find her body. They just assumed, they put her on the list of the serial killer's victims, but there wasn't really a body, so they couldn't confirm whether or not she was actually unalived, but they just put her on the list. On August 1st, 1998, 32-year-old Kristen Smith went to do a transaction with RJ for like $40. When she got in his black van, she noticed there was a bed and a mattress in the back of the car, and she asked him, "Hey, you're not that serial killer, are you?" And he responded by saying no, that he could never do something like that. He was a father. He had 4 daughters. Like, he would never do that to someone else's daughter, blah, 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 blah. liar. So then she believed him and she went to work. After several minutes of speaking in his mic wasn't getting up or nothing. So I don't know if he got frustrated because he wasn't getting up. All of a sudden, she felt like she had a blow to her head, like someone struck her over her head, and she fell back. And before she could lose consciousness, or before the person could hit her again, she took off. She didn't actually know that she was shot. She just felt like someone hit her over the head. It was blood, and she just took off to save her life. She reported the assault to the police but wasn't sure who the person was at the time, really. On November 10th, 1998, RJ was pulled over driving a Honda Civic with a known prostitute in his car, but he told the police that she was his friend's daughter and he was just giving her a ride home. Later on, detective got a tip saying that one of the first victims was last seen in a white Corvette. So then detectives, they worked hard. I gotta give it to these people. They busted their behind. They put together a list of all white Corvette owners in Eastern Washington and cross-referenced that list to the names of all the individuals who had been stopped by police in this particular prostitution area in question, right? And guess whose name was one of the names on that list? You guessed it. Mr. Yates himself. So RJ met up with the police for a little talky talk. They told RJ that his name had come up during the investigation, that he was not a suspect, and that he was free to go if he didn't want to answer any questions. They talked to him about the last time they had stopped him when he claimed that he was dropping off his friend's daughter. He didn't want to change his story, even though the police told him that they didn't believe him. He stood 10 toes in that was his friend's daughter and he was just giving her a ride. They asked him about the Corvette situation and he told them that he did have a Corvette, a white Corvette once, but he sold that thing a long time ago. And finally, they asked him for a blood sample and he told them that he would think about it. And that was that. And the crazy thing is that during the whole investigation, just a year prior, RJ was stopped for speeding in his white Corvette. And at the time, they wrote down a Camaro instead of Corvette, and it's just never clicked for them, and it just went unnoticed. Oh, he just slipped right through their fingers. Darn it. The next day, the detective had a conversation with the woman that was in his car, and that woman told them that they lied. She told them that RJ had paid her $20 to perform you know what situation, and when they did stop them, he made up the whole story about her dad. She confirmed that they did not work together and that he had given the police the wrong address for her dad's house. They knew it was a lie from the Book of Lies, RJ. A couple of days after that, RJ called the investigators and told them, yeah, that's gonna be a no for me on that blood sample, guys. Yeah, wish I could help, but good luck to you, okay? Hope you find who you're looking for. He didn't really say it like that. I'm just being extra. But yeah, he just told them that he didn't want to give him a blood sample. RJ had another encounter with the police when his daughters reported him for hitting them. They told him they would drop the charges if he didn't do it again. Oh, they could have, if they would have just, they probably could have gotten a DNA sample at that point. Oh, lucky guy. In January of 2000, the police tracked down the new owner of the Corvette and asked to get some fiber samples from the car, which the new owner agreed to. And when they tested those fibers, forensics found that there was a close match to the fibers that they had collected on that victim. Remember that one, Jennifer Joseph? So then they got a search warrant for the car and had it towed to them so that they could do a more in-depth search. They found what looked to be dried blood in the car and a small white button. They were not able to collect DNA samples from Jennifer's body because she was too badly decomposed when they found her. So they ended up getting a sample from her parents and they compared it with the DNA that they had found from the blood stains that was in the car. And per the results, there was an extreme likelihood that the DNA from the blood stains was that of a relative of the parents of Jennifer, most likely a child. And the buttons from Jennifer's blouse were literally identical to the one that they had found in the Corvette. So detectives felt like they had enough for an arrest, and on April 18th, 2000, RJ was arrested for the murder of Jennifer Joseph. Thank God. They got a warrant to collect his DNA, and lo and behold, it matched the DNA found on 8 victims in Spokane and 2 in Tacoma. Quickly thereafter, they evacuated his whole house, his family, and everything so that they could search for more evidence because they had found some of the victims covered with stuff that were identical to some of the stuff found in his backyard. Detectives kept doing their job. They just kept collecting evidence and ballistics and DNA and everything that they could find so that they can build a strong case while they had him in custody. Now, y'all remember Christine Smith, right? The one he struck in the head, or so she thought, and got away. Well, when the whole case broke and he got arrested, his picture started circulating on the news. Christine was sitting there just one good day minding her business, and then she looked at her television, and there he was, the guy who assaulted her a while ago. And so then she picked up the phone, she called the police, and she was like, that's the guy, the one who assaulted me a long time ago. She told them that she wasn't struck upside her head like she thought, that she was actually shot, because recently she was involved in a car accident and she had to be treated for her injuries, and they did an x-ray, and that's when they found that she had bullet fragments in her head. Yeah, crazy stuff. So after they collected all of the evidence they could to be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he indeed unalived all of these people, they went ahead and charged him with 8 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of first-degree attempted murder for Christine. That was in Spokane County. At first, RJ pleaded not guilty to all of the charges. However, when presented with all the undeniable evidence against him and knowing that if he actually went to trial, he would for sure get the death penalty, he decided that he was going to take a plea deal. So in exchange for life in prison, he pled guilty to 13 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of first-degree attempted murder. But he did refuse to plead guilty to the 2 Tacoma charges. If he is found guilty for those charges, though, he faces the death penalty as well. He also agreed to lead the police to the body of Melody Murfin. If you remember, she was the one lady who disappeared in 1998, but they could never find her body. They had just added her to the list of victims, but they couldn't prove for sure that she was because they didn't have a body. Well, guess where she was? She was buried right up under his bedroom window, the room that he shared with his wife. He had a body right there, right there. That is crazy. Oh, in the end, RJ was sentenced to 408 years in prison for those murders. In 2001, RJ was charged in Pierce County for the murders of Melinda Mercer and Connie Ellis, and a judge had authorized all the evidence collected in the Spokane County to be applied to the investigation in Tacoma. So on September 19th, 2002, RJ was convicted of those murders and sentenced to death by lethal injection on October 3rd, 2002. RJ appealed the death sentence, saying that his plea bargain should have included everything and that it just doesn't make sense for him to receive a life sentence for 13 murders and the death penalty for 2 more murders. It just didn't make sense, according to him. His appeal was denied, and a new date of September 19th, 2008 was set for his execution. In 2013, his lawyers filed a petition saying that he is mentally ill and that it wasn't his fault that he did all of these things. It was because he suffered from a severe case of paraphilia disorder, being sexually attracted to things and objects and non-consenting adults and all that good stuff. And that all that stuff predisposed him to unaliving people. So it wasn't his fault. In 2013, Governor Jay Inslee declared that he would not sign death warrants while he was in office. And in July of 2015, the Supreme Court ruled against overturning his conviction and death sentence. So his same sentencing still remain. In 2018, the Washington State Supreme Court ruled that the death penalty violated the state constitution. So RJ's death sentence was changed to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He's just a lucky dude. I was sitting here and I was wondering, did the wife not suspect anything? Did she not notice anything? Because that was a lot. Like, homeboy was busy. You know, I know that there's one occasion she told the police that one time her husband took their daughter to work around 11 p.m. and he did not return until 6:30 in the morning. And when he got back, he went in the house and grabbed some cleaning supplies because there is blood in the car and stuff. And when she questioned him about it, he told her that a dog had jumped out in front of his car and he had stopped to pick up the dog and take the dog to the vet. So that's how he got blood in the car. I mean, it sounds plausible if he had not been so shady. I don't know. I don't know what she was dealing with before that. But if you always out and you coming home late and you told me a story about a dog, I might be a little suspicious. But I think she found it plausible because she didn't press the matter. I also think maybe she suspected cheating, but not out here unaliving all these people. I don't know. I don't know. I think she had to have known something. But I think also in her defense, she might have just thought he was cheating. Oh, Lordy. That's crazy. I just kept imagining what it must have been like for her when all this unraveled. And oh my gosh, the children. What did the children go through? Oh my goodness. Can you imagine your dad? And it was said that RJ was very involved with his children just like his father was with him. So imagine like you spend all this time with your dad, you have a good idea as to who your dad is supposed to be, and then you find out that your dad is this type of a monster that would unalive all these women. That's crazy, but I guess it runs in the family. Oh my goodness. And to all the family members and loved ones, although the pain may never go away, but I pray that you find closure, that you find strength and peace. Anyways, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. But until then, I hope to see you in the comment section. Bye.